2017, the last time there was a middleweight title fight in the UFC that didn't feature Israel Adesanya. We have a new era, folks. This is the new generation. Sean Strickland, he's brash, he's the champion, and Dricus Du Plessis is coming for the belt. Will he take it? We'll see. But that's not the only title fight that we have on deck this weekend, folks. We're rocking in the women's bantamweight division, vacant title. No Ronda Rousey, no Amanda Nunes. We're talking Rocky, Pennington, Bueno, Silva. Some names a lot of people admittedly probably aren't too excited about, but we're here to break it down nonetheless. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. My name is Derick G. I am your host. Welcoming me, as always, my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native, AJ, man. Title fights, two of them. Canada, they beefed it up with the middleweight championship right here. What are your thoughts on these two title fights at stake? Like, is this big news to you? Are you super excited given there is championship gold on the line?
I am super excited, Derick, and maybe not for the reason a lot of people that are excited for this fight are, but man, I'm excited because this one presents new opportunity, new growth in a lot of divisions. Like you said, man, Izzy not in this main event, new blood. It excites me, man. How you feeling about this card?
Yeah, no, bro. I mean, what can you say? It's a new generation again. So at a certain point, it's inevitable. You've seen it. I've seen it. We haven't been around for that many years. We're not that old. But in terms of the UFC, we've seen our favorite fighters come and go. You know what I mean? Now you got a whole entire new stock, and we have now introduced ourselves to the fandom of the UFC people, UFC fans, who just started watching like after COVID, right? So it's like, yo, man, it's a new squad, new generation. I'm excited to talk about it, but I'm more excited because I got some money to make this weekend, baby. Let's go. We got money line picks, we got prop bets ready to go for you, and we got a whole prelim pour over to talk about some of the plays that we like on the prelims, because it's not all about the big money pay-per-view type stuff, right? With that being said, folks, let's not forget what is at stake here. What's at stake is if you take a quick look below, you're going to see a scoreboard. On the left signifies my score, right is AJ's score, two apiece. I mean, really, it's 0-0, right? There's no difference right here. But we are vying for one of these fancy gold belts. You see, I got two of them. I'm going to solo out. AJ got a fancy belt right there. Come on. So this is what we are fighting for. If we win, we get a belt. We happy. But if we win, you also win. So if you haven't subscribed to this program yet, not sure what you're doing. But with that being said, AJ, let's not mince any words. Let's go straight into the TLDR. And we're going to break up the big screen. We're going to give you a little bit of time. Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks, AJ. We got a ton of them here going on, man. Let's break them down. Dricus Du Plessis and new middleweight championship. We'll give thoughts in a moment. Mike Malott versus Neil Magny. Give us Mike Malott, the Canadian. Chris Curtis, the action man, over Marc-Andre Barriult. And then Arnold Allen, surprising underdog against Movsar Evloev. AJ, I give it to you every single week. What is the theme of the Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks for UFC 297?
Derick, my theme this week is opportunity, man. When opportunity strikes, a lot of these people are coming knocking or are answering the door is how I should say it, because right here, man, this is the time for a lot of these fighters that I have the consensus to really make their big mark on this Impact, man. They have the opportunity this weekend. It's going to be very exciting for it.
Absolutely. Now we have one at odds pick, contention pick, right? Women's bantamweight title fight, and sometimes you do it just because it's like, hey, listen, this is a 50-50 shot. Not technically, there's odds for a reason, but the point is, this is the one pick that we're going. It's not a lock either way, but let's figure it out. I like Rocky Pennington. I'm going to extrapolate on this a lot in just a few moments. You like Mayra, Bueno, Silva, Chitera. I mean, listen, hot on the mic, doing the whole nine. In a sentence, what is this? What does this contrast of picks signify right here, man? Are we on two different sides of the spectrum? Did you use a flyer here? What are your thoughts?
I think we're a lot closer to, at least me, Derick, being on that middle zone, on that fence, because I can see this fight ending in a multitude of ways. But if Bueno Silva shows up and not only be fire on the mic, but present that fire in the cage as well, things could work out really well for her. I might just have a feeling here, folks, but we're going to talk about it later on.
All right, folks. So if you want to go run to your local sports book, take a screenshot of this one to go thank us later in the comments after you win a ton of money. But what you're really here for, aside from the breakdown, of course, the prop locks, baby. This is what we do at the Bloody Water Podcast. So I'm coming off of a victory last week. I came in hot to start the year. I got another one right here. This one, folks, I had to put a lot of thought into this one. I look at this matchup, and inherently, I don't see minus 160 for the over 2.5. I think Cachoeira can catch Jasvidicius early. I think that she could finish the fight. I think Jasvidicius could tire out Cachoeira in the second round and choke her out. But as always, you have a women's contest right here. The over 2.5 is always hot money. Give me minus 160 for the over 2.5. Not goes to decision, but over 2.5. I like that one. AJ, we're rolling with another women's bout right here. The championship. You think this one goes to the distance, huh?
I think this one goes a distance, Derick, because both of these fighters are very well equipped to provide that kind of style of fight, especially going against fire, man. This is going to be a very fun one. And honestly, I'm with you. This prop week was very, very hard to predict. So this is the one that I think is going to hit the best. Folks, I'm trying to get back on that winning side for you, but make you some more money.
That's right. And folks, we're not going to track it the same way we do the normal head-to-head competition, but I'm going to keep tabs. I'm going to see how we're doing this year on the prop locks, and we're going to have a number for you at the end of the year. So take it to the bank, cash it in. You got to love it. And most importantly, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show after all. All right, AJ, you know what the people want. The people want a main card breakdown. Let's give it to them, baby.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
This is the main card, 5 fights, 2 title fights, a lot of information to break down. So let's not mince any words and let's go ahead and get started. AJ, the first fight that we need to talk about, this is the middleweight championship right here, bro. This is what everybody is clamoring about at UFC Canada, UFC 297. Sean Strickland, first title defense. Dricus Du Plessis, big buildup. Everybody pretty much thought he was going to be fighting Adesanya to solidify that championship run. But in an odd turn of fate, AJ, we have to ask the question, is this the best thing that could have happened to Dricus Du Plessis in terms of this title run? You don't have to fight the, best kickboxer that the UFC had seen over a, span of years, but you get an awkward Sean Strickland who can overperform at times, or as you can say, sometimes maybe he underperforms and maybe he was really just this good all along. What are your thoughts? Is this a lucky break for Dricus, or do you think it's the opposite?
Well, that's an interesting latter part of your question there, Derick, because I think it's both the best possible situation and the worst for Dricus Du Plessis. The best because he's not having to fight the boogeyman, if you will, in the middleweight division. He gets another fighter that's less equipped to deal with the ground game. Obviously, Sean Strickland, we've seen him avoid the ground game, the takedown, and we know that's going to be Dricus Du Plessis' game plan going in. But on the opposite side of the fence, Derick, this is the worst case scenario because of how much grit, how much determination, and how awkward Sean Strickland is when he's going out there and fighting. One of the biggest things that people have trouble with is that awkward style, not figuring out his timing, and the fact that this guy just walks you down consistently. He's going to put that cardio that Dricus Du Plessis has to the test. What do you think, Derick? Is Dricus Du Plessis going to actually be able to implement his plan and get this to the ground game, or are we going to see a stand-up fight right here?
I think that he gets this fight to the ground. And the reason why is because if you look at that matchup against Israel Adesanya for Sean Strickland, well, what is Izzy's number one tendency to do? Circle out, back up. He has no problem backing up. He'll stand his ground, but a lot of the times he'll try to set you up for the counter, right? Falls perfect into Strickland's game. You know that line between the fence? There's a black line, like an inside octagon and then the fence. If you watch all 5 rounds, Adesanya's trapped, circling that line the entire time. That's a game plan. That's strategy, right? Dricus, on the other hand, is a wrecking ball, right? So he's a guy who's willing to take a couple to get through, land his shot, durable chin. Sean Strickland's not known as the heaviest puncher in the world. I mean, any shot can catch anybody, right? But I think land a couple, eat one, in for the takedown, and now you make Sean Strickland, the black belt, work his jiu-jitsu. The question is, AJ, is Sean Strickland prepared to fight 5 rounds of that? Cardio is going to hold up if we're just sitting there and we're just point fighting, sparring, doing all that, right? But 5 rounds of up, down, fight, frames, all that. Whose gas tank wears first? Du Plessis or Strickland?
I have to say Strickland, Derick. I mean, until we see that lack of gas tank from Du Plessis, we've seen him get tired. But I mean, if the nose, if the nose surgery is legit, and man, he came out like he did against Bobby Knuckles, I think it's going to be Strickland, man. The big thing is I'm trying to think of a time when we saw Sean Strickland in that up and down washing machine style of fight, having to show off the jiu-jitsu like you're talking. Because in recent memory, at least for me right now, I'm thinking to Derick, he avoids the takedown so well that we don't ever get to see his jiu-jitsu. And that's right there, at least for me, where the unsureness rises in the actual equation, because Dricus Du Plessis, I think the gas tank's solid, man.
Yeah, man, looking at the numbers right here, bro, it's been over 10 fights since we've seen Sean Strickland in that position. When he first came into the UFC, he was a jiu-jitsu guy, right? He says it. He's like, I came in jiu-jitsu, I learned, oh shit, people could punch me in the face doing this jiu-jitsu stuff. Like maybe I should just be a different, take a different approach. But with all that being said, man, yeah, it's going to be an interesting contrast of styles. You're hearing a lot of buzz, right? Let's talk numbers. Let's talk about the actual numbers here. You're hearing a lot of buzz about Du Plessis submitting Sean Strickland, doing the whole nine, man. I'm really curious if one of these dudes is going to get knocked out. And if Dricus decides to take the fight to the floor, he's nonstop elbows, setting up jiu-jitsu and doing the whole nine. But Sean Strickland, on the other hand, let's say you have 3-4 good rounds of that. If Sean Strickland can keep his foot on the gas, I can see a volume TKO coming. Can you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's just classic Sean Strickland. Beat you up until he breaks you down. And if that goes against the wrecking machine or the wrecking ball style of fighter that Dricus is, man, that's just an ego killer. And then you got Sean Strickland talking shit the entire time. Yeah, I can definitely see that strategy working. There's a world where Sean Strickland pulls another upset and he's still champion there, man.
Do you read anything into the Abu Magomedov fight, right? Like, if you look at that fight, it was Strickland getting kind of beat up the first round, Abu putting it on him, and then what happened? Strickland just comes back and breaks him. Do you think that Dricus Du Plessis is on that level, or is he far surpassed? Because from what I'm seeing now, all the times we've doubted him, all the wins after wins after wins, and the method of victory, it just seems like Du Plessis is on a real run, and this dude is really this good, championship level.
You could almost say a sleeper run, Derick. It feels like it seems like he thinks a lot of people feel like it's undeserved, you know, like you get that feeling that he feels cheated almost, or people are overlooking him. And it kind of makes sense, man. Brad Tavares, Darren Till, Derek Brunson, Bobby Knuckles. That's an absolute killer's row. And just the last four, he's done the work to get there, but nobody's giving the acclaim. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Two of those four guys aren't even in the UFC anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's something that you have to take into consideration. Derek Brunson, they say he kind of gave up, kind of quit. You would say Du Plessis broke him, whatever. And then Darren Till, I mean, you take him to the ground. That's the name of the game. All right, man. Listen, X's and O's aside, let's actually get into the numbers. This is what's important for this matchup right here. We got some props. We have some money line odds right here. Du Plessis at plus 120. I just think that, what is going on right here? Smash that. Like, smash that all day long. I don't understand how he can be such a size. It's not even like a major sizable underdog, but given that he has more tools that we've seen him implement as of late, I think that this should at least be 50-50, if not slightly favored for Du Plessis. From a money line perspective right here, do you see value in minus 140 for Sean Strickland?
Not really, Derick. I mean, if anything, if I'm putting money on Sean Strickland, I'm gonna do it that plus 180 TKO. I don't have the numbers on the over and under or anything like that, but I definitely see a lot more value in that plus 180 because Sean Strickland could win this fight, but it seems like his most advantageous way to win is going to be the stand him up and beat him up before you break him down. What about you? Do you see any other value in those props? The submission, obviously. What about decision?
Decision is a very interesting one, man, because if you look at Sean Strickland and you look at the type of fighter that he is, notoriously, that's what he is. He is a decision fighter. Against Dricus, though, they're talking, when you have everybody hyping, someone's going to get knocked out, this is not going to go the distance, and then it goes the distance. You're disappointed, one, but also it's like, you should have seen it coming. Nobody says that if that's the, you know what I mean, type of fight that they're really trying to put on. But let me get the number, finally pulled it up. 1.5 rounds is the over and under for this championship contest. What do you think's favored? Over or under?
I would have to say over. I'm going to be mind blown if it isn't.
Yeah, minus 225 for the over right here, man. I'm going to take the over on this one as well. And if I'm looking at one of these props on either side of the spectrum, I kind of like a plus 900 Dricus Du Plessis. Here's the reason why. Again, you lay on Sean Strickland for enough rounds. You need 3 rounds of laying on him. If you can get it out to the bell, nobody gets knocked out, you control him, good ground and pound, you win where it matters in points and things of that nature, I really think that he can get the job done, man. And I think that's a major value play right there. But I'm going to top it off. I'm going to give my last piece right here, and I say stick away from the props on this one, folks. Keep it clean. Keep it money line. Plus 120 Dricus Du Plessis is the play right there. AJ, what do you got on there?
Absolutely. Money line's the way to win some cash right here. If you're feeling spicy, I do like that TKO for Sean Strickland, but obviously I'm betting on Dricus Du Plessis, and I like that money line.
And I'm also, if you want to sprinkle in for a parlay, over 1.5 rounds, you sprinkle that one in all day long. I love that on a parlay. All right, AJ. Well, that's your championship bout. We got Dricus Du Plessis and new. All right, man. Let's jump to this women's bantamweight championship right here. Rocky Pennington, man, been in the game for 10 years, doing the thing in the UFC. She asked in the press conference today, Bueno Silva, who have you fought? What's going on? I've been in here. I fought everybody. Now, I don't think it's super wise to talk too much craziness if you're Rocky Pennington, because Bueno Silva does bring a tenacity to the game that is rarely seen in this division, right? She's mean. She's a finisher. She hits really hard. And she's just mean, bro. I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to double down on the mean, right? Rocky Pennington is mean in a different way, but we have seen her be a little overwhelmed at times right here. Mayra Bueno Silva, this is my big question to you, man. Over and under on this matchup is 4.5 rounds. What do you think is favored given the style of fighter that Bueno Silva is?
I would have to say the under, Derick, but that one's a little closer. What is it?
The favorite is over, and it's -125, -105 comeback for the under right here. And this is what gives me a little bit of pause. This is where I said I was going to extrapolate, folks. Rocky Pennington, been in the game forever. If you look at the bulk of the victories in her last 10, decision wins. Bueno Silva, finisher. If you look at her whole entire last 10, man, she's got 4 fights that have gone decision. 3 rounds, right? 3 rounds. That's all we're talking right there. Rocky Pennington does have a 5-rounder loss, but guess who that loss is to, AJ? Amanda Nunes. I mean, come on, bro. It's a different pedigree of fighters that they're fighting here. So Bueno Silva, super dangerous early on, man. Submissions, big shots, doing things to just throw you off of your game, pin you against the back of the cage. Look at what happened to Holly Holm, man. Try to execute the game, try to grapple a little bit. Well, you get ninja choked. You got to be careful, right? But Rocky Pennington, she's seen it all, done it all, very durable, not the hardest puncher out there in the world, but over the span of 5 rounds. Why do we have Rocky Pennington at +145 as an underdog?
That's a great question, Derick, because when I was looking at this one, I expected Bueno Silva to be the underdog. I think this one comes down fully to momentum and what have you done for me lately? Because I agree. You want to look at pedigree, you want to look at hit list. Raquel Pennington has the more solid foundation. But Bueno Silva, she's been on a tear. She's the one making news. She's the one making headlines. She's the name everybody thinks of. That's why I think she's the favorite in this one. Don't get me wrong. They're both incredibly good fighters. That's why I think this fight is going to be so close. But right now, in the way people are thinking, it seems like Mayra Bueno Silva is leaning to be just the crowd favorite, if you will. Maybe why she's a betting favorite, or either that or the finishes. I mean, this is an interesting one, Derick, because the big question I have for you going into this fight, like we were just talking about, Raquel Pennington has all the pedigree, but when does pedigree, or I guess when does length and age and durability outweigh that pedigree? Arguably, Raquel Pennington could be hitting that spot soon.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you get the title shot, and it could be too late in your window of your career. 10 years, like we said, if we're looking at the age of a Rocky Pennington, we're looking at how old? She's like 35 or something like that, right? Like, she's older, you know what I mean? She's not the youngest. Bueno Silva's only a couple years behind her, though, right? So while I do agree that is the case, you have to look at the last couple of victories. She just beat Ketlin Vieira, split decision. That was a close fight right there for sure. But Ketlin Vieira was with the boogie woman, right? She was one of those people who you're like, yo, big, long, tall, can grapple. You got to be careful. Rocky was able to edge that one out. Aspen Ladd doesn't age as well, given that Aspen Ladd's in the PFL now. Hasn't even been doing that great there. Macy Chasson, Panikan Kianzad, Marion Renault. I agree with you. A lot of elderly names, you know what I mean? And it's kind of the same point that we're making about Dricus Du Plessis, where it's like, some of these guys, a little questionable. But Bueno Silva, on the other hand, Lena Landsberg, bro, the elbow queen, shout out, you know what I mean? Stephanie Egger, Wu Yanan. Listen, man, this is not the deepest division in the world. That's why I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. Real quick, AJ, let's take a look at these numbers. This is just what I wanted to pull up. Rocky Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva. If you look at the output right here, Bueno Silva, on paper, when you look, not on paper, in visuals, eye test, you think she's not a big volume puncher. In my mind, I'm like, she doesn't throw a lot, man. She throws really hard, but not a lot. She actually throws more per minute versus Raquel Pennington, but I think that this can be skewed given that Raquel Pennington fights more minutes total, right? So how much do you read into these numbers?
No, not much, Derick. I mean, a little, because you're right. In my presence of mind, when I'm thinking about Mayra Bueno Silva, I'm thinking of her as more of an attacker, see things, throw those big bombs coming in, but she does stay active. She is going in there and continuously keeping the pressure up, and that might be where a little bit of that number comes in. And like you're saying, the timing in the actual fights with 5 rounds and whatnot. I still think, man, something tells me Raquel Pennington just has more output, and that could be the downfall of Mayra Bueno Silva going into this fight. If Raquel Pennington puts her foot on the gas, dominates the ring, and kind of puts that fear in Mayra Bueno Silva, man, it could seriously be her downfall.
So when we're looking at plays right here, I think it's pretty simple. You have a well-rounded fighter. Bueno Silva could take it to the mat, keep it standing. Rocky Pennington has seen it all, has an answer for just about everything. If you look at the takedown defense, if you look at her striking, look at the clinch game. So when we look at props, I still think that there is some juice right there in that plus 165 submission for Mayra Bueno Silva. I think there's juice there, man. Because as much as I love Rocky Pennington right here, and if you look at when's the last time that she's been finished, it was Amanda Nunes in that 5th round where she got finished. You know, it's come on, the lioness right there. But look at the other fights, man. She fought Jermaine Randami, Irene Aldana, Holly Holm, you know what I mean? All these people that I just mentioned, man, there is no finish in sight. Super durable, but Bueno Silva is a different animal. So I think that the submission is on the table. But if there's anything right here, I'm rocking with your prop lock, baby. Let's go. Give me the decision, plus 160. On my end, I'm going to take it for Rocky Pennington, of course. But I also say sprinkle in that over 4.5 rounds decision, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? Sprinkle that into your parlays. But if you're rocking with me, you're rocking with Rocky Pennington money line or plus 160 decision. Honestly, I think there's more juice in the decision. I'll take that all day over the money line. What do you see, AJ?
I definitely think there's a lot of juice in that decision, Derick, and that's why I think this is the prop lock right here. This fight is more, well, we'll say hopefully, you know, if it goes the distance, but that's probably what's going to happen with these two extremely talented ladies right there. I'm going with that decision as well. Like I said, the prop lock's going to decision, so whoever you're picking, we're both on the same page right here, but I'm going Mayra Bueno Silva. Pretty sure it's plus 425. It's juice right there for either way. Whichever one you're rocking with, it's going to be a great fight.
All right, there you have it. We're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but the money still remains the same. We want that decision. We want that over 4.5 rounds on this matchup. And with that being said, folks, that's 2 title fights right there. Either way you split it, it's going to be and new in the women's bantamweight division. And with that being said, we have to move on to what I mentioned earlier, the new generation, AJ. Neil Magny is now on the tail end of his career. I think it's fair to make that assessment. And if you're looking at a Neil Magny, you look at Ian Gary in the last fight and how he was able to just leg kick, that little oblique kick to the knee, beat him up to the body with kicks, striking, like he hit him with the whole repertoire, which made me say, all right, these young guns, man, these new dudes, they have something for everything you got, right? Mike Malott reminds me a lot of that. This dude is looking to take your block off, but he could also grapple the hell out of you. So when you're in a situation like Neil Magny is back against the wall, you need to get a win. You got 2-3 in your last 5, and you have a second hot prospect, undefeated, not undefeated, 10-1, almost undefeated, Mike Malott, right? What approach do you take if you're Neil Magny? Do you step on the gas? Do you expose yourself and get knocked out? Do you try to clinch him and hold on for dear life? Like, what approach do you take if you're Neil Magny?
I think you have to put the foot on the gas and bring the fight to him right from the jump, Derick. Impose that will, impose that dominance, and shake him a little bit. Because other than that, your back's already on the wall. You're one step away from the chopping block anyway. Might as well go for the gold, get a knockout. Because if you get knocked out, your result's still the same. At least if that's where his case is, if that's where his contract is. So I guess it all depends on contract and going forward. But, I mean, if you need to make a splash, I think Neil Magny is the fighter that can get this done. He's more than likely going to be looking for a finish.
You think, I'm sorry, you're saying you think Neil Magny can get it done in terms of, like, win this fight?
Whew, don't get me wrong, I'm betting on Mike Malott. I let the cat out of the bag earlier, but I'm saying if there's a fighter that has the spirit, has the potential to get it done, it's Neil Magny, but he's almost on the way out.
So you would say, I think it sounds like to me, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm just restating it for you. You're saying he has the veteran prowess to make this a much more competitive fight than many would think and rise to the occasion and potentially upset Mike Malott, correct?
Oh, absolutely, Derick. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is an older fighter, but yes, if Neil Magny shows up like the Neil Magny we've seen in the past, he's a full, well-rounded fighter. It just can't be fighting on the back foot like he was in the Ian Gary fight and looking scared, especially with those leg kicks started getting damaged, started shaking him a little bit. I think Neil Magny can get it done. Are you calling me crazy?
No, not at all. I completely agree with you. I just think that Mike Malott is so versatile that it makes it really difficult for me to have that belief. And here's the reason why. Look at the common theme between the last 4 losses for Neil Magny. Ian Gary, Gilbert Burns, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Michael Chiesa. People who are going to pressure him, people who are going to put him on the back foot, and then aside really from Ian Gary, even though he did do some of this, people who are going to scoop him up and put him on his butt. So Mike Malott, here's the thing, if the ego gets to him and he's full Canada, let's go, full send, you know what I mean? Just like he was last fight against Adam Fugit. If he's on like that hype, all Canada, I want to knock you out, different situation. But if he's smart like he was in the last fight and he says, all right, I'm having a lot of success on the feet, I'm clipping you, but here's my guillotine opportunity, whoop, submission, done, fantastic. If it's full knockout, that's where Neil Magny gets his openings. So I think what this is more than anything, this is be composed, be level-headed, and realize this is not just Neil Magny. This is an opportunity into the top 15 rankings right here. Don't forget, Magny's number 13 in the world. So I think Mike Malott is a smash spot right here. I'm not sure what Neil Magny is going to have for him other than a volume approach if he can tire out. Mike Malott, use his chin, be durable, and then try to step on the gas late round 2 and then round 3. But AJ, are you confident in that, or are we full Mike Malott here?
I'm not confident with that, Derick. I think the only way you're going to shake a young gun like Mike Malott on home soil, looking for his, 6th straight finish, is going to bring the fight early, bring the fight hard, and last the entire time and really take this dude's soul. A tall task against Malott.
Do you think the finish streak continues?
Woo. That's a great question, Derick. Man, I don't want it to, but I think there's a chance the finish streak can get going. Mike Malott can grab 6 of them. It's hard though, man. Neil Magny, I mean, yes, 2 of his last 3 losses are by submission by those guys you're talking about because they're going to implement the same game plan Malott is going for. But does Neil Magny let that happen to him? I don't know. We'll see how much dog he has left in him.
That's what I was going to say is like at this point, it almost seems to a degree like Neil Magny, if anything, you're fighting for the pride of I'm not going to let this young dude finish me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to let it happen. But then again, it's easier said than done when you're fighting a stud like him. So you could, I talk about this from a jiu-jitsu perspective. I say in jiu-jitsu, there's 2 routes you could take. You can just get your ass kicked, or you can say, all right, I'm going to stall and clinch and just try to do anything not to lose. And that stalemate, you're not going to learn as much than you would from a loss. Now, it's a little bit different stakes. It's not a jiu-jitsu match. It's not training. This is a real life fight where you get real hurt and your career is on the line. I just think that, we could put it a million different ways, man. Mike Malott is the smash spot right here. The question is, if you do believe that the finish streak continues, there's 2 ways that this could take place, a knockout or a submission, plus 350 for the TKO, plus 125 for the submission. Where's the juice?
Man, the juice, the more likely pick is that plus 125 submission. But Derick, I think Mike Malott's due for a knockout. He's gone two submissions, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. If history proves it, if the numbers are on my side, I like that plus 350 TKO odd. Like I said, I don't want to see it against my boy Magny, but Malott has the juice behind him. What about you? Which one's the one that you're looking at?
I'm looking at some heavy punchers that he's fought. The Jeff Neals, the Robbie Lawlers, Daniel Rodriguez's. I mean, the chin held up. I think it's going to hold up against Mike Malott. I think he might get dropped, pull guard, and then get submitted. But it's terrible. Isn't it terrible? We love the Haitian sensation, man. Shout out Neil Magny. I just think that it's Canada. This is Mike Malott's time. If he's going to lose, I doubt it's going to be in front of a Canadian crowd. So give us Mike Malott. I'm going to rock with that plus 25 submission prop. I think that's a fair play. AJ likes the plus 350. If you want to go on your local sports betting site and just go Mike Malott by finish in the distance, I mean, listen, fair play. There's money to be made out there, folks. You know what I mean? So take what we got. All right, folks, let's keep it pushing. And let's move on to the action man. Chris Curtis maintains his number 13th ranking in the world at middleweight, but he fights the power bar, man. And I was really surprised. I love Chris Curtis. We've bet on Chris Curtis a ton. But the power bar, plus 140, underdog at home soil against Chris Curtis? I was a little confused, man, because this is a fight where I really do think this is a lot closer than what the numbers are presenting. Do you feel that way?
Oh, absolutely, Derick. Absolutely. I think the power bar has a chance right here for a little resurgence, man. Chris Curtis is coming in with a lot of steam behind him, a lot of hype, a lot of views, which absolutely he deserves 100%. But power bar has an opportunity to really get things done, especially if he can bring it to Chris Curtis early in the fight.
Let's take a look at these numbers right here, man. Does this not surprise you? You don't see which is which. Obviously, you could use logic to kind of intuit it, right? But 5.36 strikes landed per minute on the left side, 5.95 on the right side. If you had to take a guess, you would think the higher count is for Chris Curtis, but we scroll up, man. That's just the power bar, man. He's got more output, little less accuracy, doesn't take as many strikes per minute, slightly, pretty much the same defense. Takedown average a little bit more. I mean, the numbers are all citing for the power bar, But, you know, you go take a little closer look and, you know, it just doesn't quite add up that way, man. So why do we like Chris Curtis in this matchup? If you watch the TLDR, you saw that's the pick, right? But why do we like Chris Curtis? And in my opinion, I think it's that Philly shell, shoulder roll style, middle of the cage. I'm going to counter strike you. I'm going to hit you where it hurts. And I'm just going to stay on you for 3 rounds. Now, the problem that I see in that is that lack of output is always Chris Curtis's problem. He's down. He lands the big shot. He wins. Can the power bar just point his way to a victory right here?
I do not think so, Derick. I mean, it might be the power bar, but still, that output I do think has a serious impact on his gas tank. And we've seen him slow down in the fights. And that's really why I like Chris Curtis right here, because if he can stay with that Philly shell, duck a lot, miss a lot, or have you miss a lot, and then connect and still be there consistently putting that pressure on, I think that's going to be the optimum route for Chris Curtis.
If you look at the last 2 wins, man, they're big wins, but it's against Eric, your boy, Anders, which was an interesting fight, and Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? Now, the reason that I point these out is because if you look at those fighters versus Chris Curtis, I see major differences, right? Both of them slower, harder punchers. Gas tank isn't phenomenal. Chris Curtis, on the other hand, you don't really see him slowing down. We saw him stuff 20 takedowns from Rodolfo Vieira, right? And still pushing strong in your face. I don't think cardio is going to be an issue right here. The only thing, like I said, I'm just going to repeat it again because it does concern me. I can see a volume play right here. Barriult just pushing him back against the cage, doing the whole 9, right? I can see that happening if Chris Curtis is looking to sharpshoot just a little bit too much, because that's the problem that I have. It's not even a matter that it's the wrong approach. It's that sharpshooting takes away from your overall volume, similarly to Mayra Bueno Silva. She looked for the big knockout shot. Well, what are you doing in between? The other person just pointing away at you, right? So let me ask you, 20 takedown stuffed more or less against Vieira, can Barriult get this fight to the ground?
I don't think so, Derick. I think Chris Curtis has the speed and the strategy to be able to avoid that. But I mean, admittedly, when power bar's backs against the cage and then Chris Curtis is still pushing it, it's going to be his best chance. And when Chris Curtis has that tendency to, like you say, look for the big shot, because he gets a little agitated, a little angry, and goes not necessarily against the game plan, but really looks to hurt you, that's going to be the power bar's best shot. And what I like most about that is they're both going to be meeting head to head right there. So the shot opportunity will be presenting itself.
I don't know if Marc-Andre Barriult is confident enough, and this is going to sound crazy, but hear me out. I don't know if he's confident enough to put himself in a position like Joaquin Buckley did, where trade for trade, blow for blow, and he gets knocked out. I think he respects the offense of Chris Curtis. I think somewhat vice versa as well. But I have a hard time seeing a knockout here because I don't think that Barriult will put him in position to just open up enough to let himself get knocked out. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, because it's a weird double-edged sword, because you got to get in there to do some damage to Chris Curtis, to get him off his bike, to stop the pressure that's coming downhill. But at the same point, you got to avoid that. You got to be able to maintain your own distance and let his lack of output be his downfall while you're capitalizing on it and outstriking him, outpointing him, and just making him miss. I have a hard time seeing Marc-Andre Barriult do that. Let's see if I'm proven wrong. If we are, we always know it's accountability hour, but I see Chris Curtis working that really well.
And folks, you came here to win some money, so rock with the play right here. Give us Chris Curtis. Smash that minus 170 money line right there. I do like that plus 160 decision. I think that's actually something that I'm going to dive into. That's a $10, $15 bet right there. You just throw a little something on it. You put the majority of your units on that minus 170 Chris Curtis money line. I love the play. AJ, you got anything else on that one?
Bro, that's exactly what I was going to say too, man. I love that decision if you're looking for a prop or something, somewhere in there, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, and with that being said, let's move on to the opening bout. Almighty Arnold Allen. You lose to Max Holloway, and all of a sudden now you have to fight Movsar Evloev. Like, this is how you know this dude is game, because he says, all right, I'm number 3 in the world. I could just kind of bide my time, see what they got for me, but instead, I'm going to give a shot to number 9. Nobody wants to fight this guy. We know he's a lot better than what his number indicates, and at the same time, there's a little bit of a stylistic advantage, though it is on paper looked at as a disadvantage, right? Evloev, we know what the game plan is. It's very simple. Get to your hips, put you down, control you, ground and pound, and win the fight. Like, decision, easy. That's why you look at the prop and you see minus 145 decision for Movsar Evloev, which I say, a little egregious, AJ, a little egregious. I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think that Arnold Allen loses a fight and all of a sudden, it's Joe Smo off the street, dude. Like, here's the thing. I'm going to pass this one on over to you, but before I do that, I think one of Arnold Allen's best attributes is his blitz that just stuns people, right? Now, it's hard to blitz if you're worried about a dude shooting for your hips every time that you start unloading the big hooks and doing the whole nine. If Movsar Evloev gets Arnold Allen to the ground, is this a situation where we're stuck there for 4 or 5 minutes? Or do you think Arnold Allen will be able to get back up and test that up-down of Movsar Evloev?
That's a great question, Derick, because I don't think we're going to be able to see Arnold Allen get back up. I do think if Movsar Evloev is able to control this fight, I mean, did he get the dub on Diego Lopez? He got the dub, yeah, but he had a hard time fighting him. Dan Ige too, man. Dan Ige has a lot of power, a lot of speed, a lot of control, but he's still able to control him going forward. And once he gets his fight to the ground, I see the same thing happening to Arnold Allen. The question though is Arnold Allen going to be able, or will Movsar Evloev be able to get to Arnold Allen's hips? Because that's one thing I like about Arnold. You were talking about his blitz, and one thing that works really, really well in the blitz, if you can time it, a flying knee, a knee up the middle, something up the middle, because you're using your legs to blitz and you can already use them to strike as well in that same moment. And if he can land something big like that, it's going to discourage any kind of shot. But also Arnold Allen hits hard and he has good speed. Do you think Movsar Evloev is going to be able to get this fight to the ground, Derick?
I think he can get it into the ground. I think he can. Here's the reason why, man. If you look at the repertoire, like the strength of schedule for Arnold Allen as of late, he's fought primarily strikers, right? It's been a little while since he fought a wrestler. Nick Lentz was actually the last fight. I think that was back in like 2018 or something. So I think Evloev, given that that's the number one approach, I think he's going to be able to get there. I don't know if he can get there time and time and time again. Let's not forget, every single round starts on the feet. So if he gets there, I think he gets there early. I don't think he shoots immediately. I think he tries to play the game. Oh, I'm going to sit there and strike, and then he's going to go in for the shot, and then they're going to kind of, do it that way. But if you look, I just want to bring this up really quickly, man. People look at Arnold Allen, man. I'm just like, yo, I know this dude is like low key, but like, okay, let's disregard. We're gonna wipe all of this away. You just fought like 4 straight strikers. We're gonna wipe all of that away. We're gonna start off with Nick Lentz, right? He did technically get taken down by Nick Lentz, so I don't know why there's no takedown on here because like technically he did. I just watched that fight. But if you look at Gilbert Melendez, he gets the takedown. Look at Mads Burnell. That was the fight, right? Ends up winning the fight, but this was a fight where people were like, "Oh, this dude can't defend a takedown." Let's not forget, AJ, this is 2018. So with Nick Lentz, that was 2020. Sorry, Nick Lentz was 2020. Mads Burnell, 2018, when he got taken down a bunch, right? Makwan Amirkhani, you know how sick that dude's wrestling is. Took him down 4 times. Well, guess who won the fight? Arnold Allen. So when you look at it from that perspective and you look at like, man, dude's takedown defense isn't terrible. He has a knack to be able to keep the fight standing. Is that all Movsar Evloev has to offer? Because you know he can strike. You know Evloev can strike. But Arnold Allen striking, Movsar Evloev striking. Like, bro, I mean, if he couldn't get the fight to the ground, if Evloev was struggling, couldn't get the shot, and now he's panic shooting, and now his stand-up is all rigidity, we're kind of thinking Arnold Allen knockout almost, right?
Almost, Derick. I mean, almost. I think the real caveat to that statement is the shakiness or the stiffness of the striking of Evloev. Because if those takedowns do get stuffed, if he's not able to get the fight down, will he be shaky on his feet? He's a good striker, man. He's a well-rounded fighter in Evloev. But I do agree with you. The striking of Arnold Allen is just that much more superior. I mean, I'm looking at the prop out knock, 650 plus 650. It doesn't seem like the odds makers are giving any juice or at least any hope, I guess, for the knockout for Arnold Allen. I can see it happen, Derick, personally.
When I see plus 350 for this decision, when I see plus 150 for the money line, I just say the odds makers are out of their mind, dude. This is the opportunities where you look at these and you say, there is something not right. You guys are playing the what have you done for me lately game. And guess what? Arnold Allen has done a lot for us lately. It just wasn't in the last fight. So if I'm wrong, and of course we'll come back and we'll take accountability, right? But if I am wrong and Movsar Evloev just steamrolls this dude, keeps him on his back and just wins an easy decision, that's not going to tell us as much about Arnold Allen as it will about Evloev. And it's like, yo, y'all needed to get this man a big name. There's a reason why nobody in the top rankings wanted to fight him. But I honestly do think that if you're one-dimensional in this range and you're going against a really high-level striker like Arnold Allen, who can put you out with one shot because he has that type of power, things get interesting. And that's where Diego Lopez comes into play, right? Because we saw Diego Lopez have success in striking and in the grappling. Arnold Allen doesn't have the grappling, but if you take advantage of the striking, there's a lot to like there. So, folks, I like Arnold Allen plus 150. I think that is the best play that you could possibly have in this situation if you're not rocking with the favorite right here. If you're a nut and you're like, I need to just throw long shot darts out there, roll with the plus 650 TKO. I'm seeing a lot of people thinking third round knockout for Arnold Allen. And AJ, last one that I want your take on. Over and under, 2.5 rounds, minus 340 for the over. Do you think that's a safe play?
Oh, yeah, very safe play. Well, I mean, it's a safe play if you're an Evloev fighter, for sure, or an Evloev better, for sure. Arnold Allen, I can see this fight getting into the later rounds. So, yeah, I think it's smart money. What about you?
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, if Arnold Allen gets the knockout, I think you have to make this dude tired. You have to make him do a lot of shots. Bro, listen, I'm no wrestler. I'm no professional athlete, but trying to take someone down sucks. It's tiring if you don't get it, man. 2, 3 of those suck. Now try 10, 15. Oh, God. That's why these dudes get paid this money. You know what I'm saying? But, all right, folks, consensus pick here. It is the almighty one. It is Arnold Allen, number 3 in the world. Y'all must have forgot moment right here. Give us the plus 150 dog, and let's cash it in. And with that being said, that is the last fight that we have for your main card breakdown. So if you made it to this portion of the program, folks, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. But we are asking a favor. Actually, AJ, I ask favors, but you're a little more demanding. Tell the people what we need.
I'm demanding favors, folks. I'm not because we're doing anything, crazy over here, but we're supplying you some nice content. But most importantly, and Derick brought it up earlier, we're at stake for some gold belts, but what's really at stake is money in your pockets week in and week out. You're getting the best picks right here. And all we're asking for in return, I guess all Derick's asking for, all I'm telling you to do is smash that subscribe button. Make sure you share with your friends, because if you're not, you're a bad friend. And I know none of you guys are. So, man, help us out. Go share with your friends. You already know what to do.
Nobody wants to be a bad friend. Don't do it. It's not worth it. All right, folks. Listen, we are ready for the most coveted, the most respected, the most anticipated segment of this program. It is the sleeper section, and voiced by the golden voice, the king. That's all we got to say. Let's run it.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, folks. We got some sleepers that we need to discuss here. You know the drill. It's going to be a 60-second bar pitch right here, and we're going to explain to you why there's a beautiful woman across the bar that you want to go walk up to. But, brother, women are temporary. Championships are forever. Let's go ahead and make this money. We're going to describe it right here. AJ, I'd actually like you to kick it off, if you do not mind. Let's bring it up on the big screen. All right, brother, take it away. What do you got here?
Ooh, this is a fun one, folks, man. Sergey City versus Ramon Taveras. Man, I really, really like this fight. 1, it's a rematch. 2, they used to fight in the Dana White Contender Series. That's where Ramon got knocked out, and he's coming back for some violence. He ended up going back into the Contender Series and getting a knockout himself, and now these boys get to meet it up again and run one more time. It makes me excited. This fight's going to be a lot of fun. You look at their fights, man. They have a lot of knockouts, both guys. They're going to be bringing the pace the entire time. I expect this fight to be like the first, action from the jump. I'm looking for a first, maybe even a early into the second round knockout. So make sure you tune in. Don't be looking at those pretty ladies at the bar. Get your eyes on the TV. Derick, who's your sleeper?
Folks, who doesn't like knockouts? Who doesn't love knockouts? That's a banger right there. All right, I cheated. Sorry, folks. Air Jordan versus Sean Woodson, the sniper. Come on, bro. This is a striker's dream right here. These two dudes are going to meet in the middle, and they're going to bang it out. Pause, but you already know what I mean. Listen, here's the big caveat to this matchup. This isn't just a regular striking contest right here. There's a little bit of a difference in stature. 6'2" Sean Woodson, one of the tallest dudes in the UFC in terms of his division. This dude fights at 145 pounds. That's ridiculous, right? 5'9" for Charles Jourdain, 69-inch reach, and 78-inch reach comeback for Sean Woodson. Now, Charles Jourdain, a little bit of a goofball. He did mention one thing, and he says, hey, what's the approach you're going to take? This dude's long. He's lanky. Major reach advantage. He says, I'm going to... He said, I'm going to take the same approach that I do with my stepsister. I'm going to penetrate and dominate. AJ, bro... Bro, my man Jourdain, he ready to go. I'm here for the comedy. I'm here for the highlights, the flying knees, the big shots, and potentially a knockout. If you're not sold on that, you don't know fighting, you don't like fighting, and you need to leave this channel right now. This is Sleepers for a reason. We come here for violence, for gore, and for all of the fun stuff that you like in a sleeper, where you go tell your friend, hey man, all these prelims, these are free, but this is the one that you got to watch out, and then you look like the coolest dude in your whole entire friend group. Like, come on, bro, this is what we're here for. So, with that being said, that is your sleeper section. Take it to the bank, chalk it in. You're not going to get money in return off this one, but you are going to get some good street cred with your friends. All right, AJ. Moving on to the prelim pour over. So this is the conclusion of our show. Not quite yet. We still got a couple of minutes, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to take a look at the free portion of the UFC 297 undercard prelims. And what I want you to do is I'm going to kick it off to you. If there's some interesting bouts that you see on there, let's talk about them. So let me bring it up on the big screen really quickly before you get going. And talk to me, brother. We got some prelims. What do you see?
Derek, I think the first one we need to talk about, man, the fight opening up the entire night, Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick. Folks, if you're a hardcore fan, you already know who I'm talking about. But if you're not, folks, get ready for some fun, some violence, whether you want to see submissions, knockouts, whatever it is. Both of these guys have been doing it for quite a while. Derek's pulling up right now. Yeah, there's some losses. They're both coming off 2 losses, so they're going to be coming into this fight hungry. I'm excited for it. Derek, what do you think?
I think that these are the 2 hardest working flyweights in the division right now who aren't having a lot of success, both coming off of 2-fight losing streaks. Now, AJ, I'm just going to give you the heads up right here. Malcolm Gordon has a very weird knack, almost Alan Boudreaux-esque, of winning fights until he is no longer winning fights. But I'm giving him the edge in this matchup. Let me see. What are the odds? Yeah, he's a slight favorite, minus 130 per Tapology. Excuse me. I'm giving him the slight edge. Not just because he's more active than Jimmy Flick, but Jimmy Flick, let's not forget, my man retired and came back. I am sorry. You retired. There's a section of your mind that is no longer within the fight game. Malcolm Gordon is looking like the resurged one, even coming off of those 2 losses. I think this is going to be a fun scrap. And this is one where I was looking for my prop lock and I wanted to take goes the distance or over 2.5 rounds for this one. But guess what, bro? These dudes, the way that they fight, this one could definitely be over in a blink of an eye. At flyweight unders, we love it, bro. So that's my take on that one. You got anything else on that one?
No, man. I want to talk about the next one. This one actually gets me very excited, and it's a rare moment when a lot of people's eyes are going to be tuning on to the female fights, man. Jillian Robertson versus Polyana Viana. Buried in the undercard. So a little, I want to give a little respect to the ones that have been doing it for a long time, especially Jillian Robertson, man. She is an absolute gangster. I like her in this fight. Polyana Viana is also very, very dangerous. Again, 2 fighters, both coming off of losses, going to be hungry going in there. What do you think, Derek? You like this fight?
I love this fight, bro. Women's MMA, bro. I'm like an ambassador. Come on, what are we talking about here? This was not going to be a sleeper because I know that this is not going to be that type of fight. I was looking at this very extensively for my props right here. I like Jillian Robertson. I already placed a money line on her. I think I got her at minus 170, which is a little high. I'm not going to lie, because Polyana Viana can strike, but if Robertson can get her to the ground, I think that she can dominate. Problem is, we're not seeing the evolution in the striking of Jillian Robertson's game that we probably anticipated. So I think that this one is a little up in the air, but if she's been working that big right hand, working some of that takedown transition from the striking, not just a pure takedown, but doing that transition, I think she could have a lot of success here. Here's the problem, man. I don't think that you can count out Polyana Viana, which makes this an interesting fight. She got submitted by Lucindo, beat Jin Yufrey, very impressive right there, and then lost to Baby Shark. But before that, Mallory Martin submission, Emily Whitmire submission. I mean, come on, bro. You're not going to submit Jillian Robertson, but again, coming off the Baby Shark loss, I think that this is a fun fight. Y'all need to tune into this one. AJ, I actually, because you said the second fight, I pulled up this other women's fight that I thought you were talking about. Let's get a couple of words on this. Jasmine Jasvidicious, coming off of that loss to Tracy Cortez. I was live in attendance, broke my heart because I actually thought in real time, much different than watching it on tape, folks. So like, yo, give some respect to the judges. I thought Jasvidicious won that fight. She ended up losing like 30-27. It was kind of bad. It was a bad look for me in the crowd, right? Because I was like, oh, bro, Jasvidicious, y'all are dumb. 30-27. I was like, oh, shit, all right, my bad. But Priscilla Cachoeira. Now, folks, I told you guys, I did a lot of research into this one. Cachoeira, if she's going to win, she's going to walk through her. But Jasvidicious has a chin. Almost too much of a chin. Almost like, yeah, chill out on that. Use a little bit of defense. But if Jasvidicious gets Cachoeira to the ground, if Cachoeira does not end up eye gouging her, I imagine she could get a TKO, a submission, something like that. I do think the over 2.5 still hits, though. I think Cachoeira is going to tough it out. What do you think?
I really like the over, Derek, but I hate that you're still in a little bit of the lines because I was going to use the eye poke too. I think Jasvidicious, if she can get this fight to the ground, man, she's going to look very good. But you can never catch out Cachoeira because she is willing to do what she needs to do to win the fight, whether it's illegal or not. And when it is non-illegal, she is very powerful, can do a lot of damage in this. So it does take a lot of concern because Jasvidicious has such an iron chin and unwilling to use that defense like you're talking about. We could see a hell of a brutal match right here. And I'm here for it, man. I'm excited.
You know, I hate to pull this out, man, but I will say you'll hear like Raiders, right? Old school Raiders, John Madden. It'd be like, yeah, we cheat, so what? What you gonna do about it, right? And I'm like, Catchaway almost take that approach. Like, what you gonna do about it? Referee better stop me, because if not, I'm gonna do it all day long. So this is the onus to the refs right here. Like, come on, be on top of it, please. The eyes, chill. You know what I mean? All right, man. Fun fight. All right, we're pretty much running out of time right here, so let me just take a quick look. Is there anything else we need to cover? We pretty much covered just about everything. Fun fight, Brad Katona, Garrett Armfield. Aside from that, just about everything has been covered. All right, folks, we're only here for the good stuff. We're not wasting any time. So with that being said, we made it to the outro. UFC 297, AJ, it is flying by. January, we're already almost done with January. We just started 2024, but it's only 2-2, so it's even scoring right here. What this means is that there is a long road ahead of us to get one of these coveted shiny belts behind us. Again, I'm going to finish every show off. Triple D, that's the nickname for me. Not yet, but that's what we're aiming for. Prophecy, self-fulfilling, all that. AJ is trying to steal that from me, though. He wants to be on the level playing field, which I don't know if we can allow. But it's not up to us, folks. I guess it is for our picks. But it's up to you guys showing love, supporting, subscribing, and just kind of feeding into this thing, man. This ecosystem right here is beautiful. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get there before the halfway point of the year. You do that, we make partner with YouTube. We're rolling, baby. Bloody Water Podcast taking it to a new level. AJ, as always, take us out of here, brother.
The only other thing I gotta say, folks, because how can you top that? Derek said it all, man. There is money on the line each and every single week, and you're a fool if you're not ever there making money on it, getting that money or putting it in your friend's pocket. Be a good person, share the love. Like Derek said, support us over here, and we're gonna be bringing money for you week in and week out. Those belts aren't just hanging for any reason, folks. They're to remind everybody that we're here for gold. We're here to put money in your pockets. Let's go and do this thing.
Let's get it, folks. Catch us on Monday for the UFC 297 post show, almost to UFC 300. That'll be beautiful. Until then, that's it for us. Catch us on the next one. Peace.